Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, we are going to talk about why users don't want no-code because they want features. And I know we are on a no-code exhibit here, and I'm not going to say bad things about no-code. I just want to point out what it is for. So today, we will look at okay, sorry. We will look at why users want features, what kind of features. And we will talk about reinventing the wheel. Is it really necessary? We will be talking about the future of no-code and how I think it will be component-driven, and also how to make sure that the users get the feature that they really want. But first, I would like to know a little bit more about you. So who in the room is a no-code editor? Okay, hi. And who here is a future user? You're thinking about implementing functionalities in no-code in your company? No? Yes, hi. And who is a no-code consultant? Okay, good. Now I'm going to present myself. I'm Myrène, and I've been working in no-code for 17 years. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Simax, and Simax is a no-code platform that is specialized in creating CRM and ERPs. And I'm also a no-code evangelist, and I have been since 2004. Of course, the word no-code didn't exist at the time. With my business partner, we created the first ERP CRM that is 100% no-code in 2006, and we've grown since then. And what I really want to share with you today is this 17 years experience in no-code. And that's why I know that users don't want no-code, they want features. I'm going to talk a little bit more about me. Well, you might not know me, but you might know my ex, because he's really famous. My ex-love, his name, I'm sure you know it, it's C++. So I know what you think. He's a bit old for me, but he has been kept in good shape all these years, you know, like. He's a bit strict, like when you allocate resources, you have to then free them later on. But we used to have this very strong love story. So I used to be a software engineer. And from there, in my first job, I used to work for a low-code company called WinDev. So from then, I moved to another company, and I experienced firsthand, was a long time ago in 2000, that a lot of programmers can save a lot of time by clicking buttons instead of writing lines of codes. And what I really liked with WinDev, we had like 50,000 developers worldwide, is that a lot of them were not real programmers, and they were like self-trained, and they could do amazing, amazing applications with it, but they were all reinventing the wheel. And so, and also I realized that the projects were never ending. They were always improving and rewriting and everything. So from this experience, that's where I thought about what would be even better, what would be even more time saving than, you know, writing a little bit of code, but not so much. And I thought about no code at the time. So I started Simax in 2006 with my business partner. And I can tell you how it was in 2006 when you were a no-code company. It was really a no man's land. You can imagine that. Like, no one understood what we wanted to do. No one even believed it was possible, and very few could understand it. So when I was going to see would-be customers, I would say, okay, so we are able to do software without programming. We wouldn't use the word no code at the time. And they were like, oh, that's very nice, but what is it for? and then I would say, well, for instance, we can do this and this. We can do CRM functionalities. We can do sales functionalities. Oh, so the same thing that you can do in code. Yes, basically, but we can do them faster and we can do them for cheaper money and it could be more flexible afterwards. Okay, but we had to prove ourselves. So the thing is that I realized at the time that I couldn't sell no code. I could only sell features. And I think this assumption is still valid today. It happened a few times that what I... Oh, sorry. Thank you. Oh. Shit. Okay, so thank you. It happened a few times that that it was I was in my estimates I was not believed by my would-be customers because the prices range and the delays we were giving were unbelievable. It was too fast and too cheap. It happened to me several times. Like at some point, I was running for the CRM of Le Jabi. It's an undergarment women company in France, and we were in the shortlist with SAP. And SAP had on a huge discount on the license, like 90% discount, and they were still above 1 million, and we were between 200 and 300,000 for the same project. And like at the very end, they said, okay, well, they are too cheap and they are too fast. We cannot believe that it's really doable. So, you know, it was I'm pretty sure we would have done it. I'm pretty sure Le Jabi would have been alive today if they had done a project with less money. But more or less, all these years, we've been competing with code. And that's the truth also today. No code is still competing with code. But sometimes competing with code was really, really cool. So let's go back in time. We are in 2007, and I'm meeting with the number 2 of the veterinarian sector. And he has the question, the usual question. So how much are you in your company? And how long has the company existed? So I say, okay, we are 5 people and we've been existing for 1 year. And of course he starts laughing. Say, okay, well, that's very interesting, but obviously we will never work with you, or at least not right now. You're too young, you're too small for us, but let's keep in touch. Because he had seen our no-code feature and he was quite interested. And so they sent us the specification of the ERP project, and we were allowed to do a demo. And that's how we won the project. Because in 2 hours of no-code, we created a key feature that our competitor had estimated at 3 months of programming. And that key feature was very important because in the veterinary sector, they have this legal frame and they cannot deliver a product to a customer if they cannot prove that a veterinarian visit found a disease with the animals that can be cured with the product that you're buying. And I'm giving you really the short version of this. And so that was very, very key for their business. And the fact that we were able to demonstrate that was really key for winning the project. And what happened with our competition? Well, the competition, they wouldn't do the 3 months of code before winning the project. What they had done was a really nice PowerPoint, probably much nicer than ours. But we had done it, and we had shown firsthand that it was possible, so that's why we won. So we could only compete in those competitions. because we had already existing features. We had CRM, supply, stock, production, sales, invoicing, everything. We were only adapting those features to the client needs. And we could adapt very freely with no code. Another story, let's go a little later on in time. We are in 2014, and with my business partner, Jérôme, we are competing in the rat race. I don't know if some of you know the rat race. It's the oldest and the biggest code competition in the world. And this competition was mainly about coding, and we were the first to win it with no code. So in 2014 and 2015, we already proved that no code. Oh, thank you. Okay, we already proved that no code was faster and more and better than the best with code. And the thing is, the others, they had done most of the features. But in this competition, they are a bit tricky, you know, like they like to change things around in the competition because it's like what happens in real life. So like 5 minutes before the end of the clock, because it takes 1.5 days, 5 minutes before, they say, okay, no, the customer wants to change that. So let's see how you do it. And so we made the last minute change. We didn't have to test it, and then we went for in front of the jury. I was working perfectly, and that's how we won. So it's not only the features, but also being able to change them very fast. So that's one of the reasons I'm a huge fan of no code. Now let's talk about reinventing the wheel. As I told you before, when I was working with WinDev, I saw all those programmers recreating features that I had seen over and over again. And they were all doing the same thing and also creating the same bugs. And the thing is that when you have to start from scratch and work over and over again, then you lose a lot of time, and also you don't have the business experience that goes with it. And also, the thing is that we live in a legal frame. I was talking about the case of the veterinarian sector. We also live in a competitive world, so everything moves around us. Like for instance, right now in Europe, we have this huge change in legislation regarding digital invoicing. I don't know if you heard about Factor X here. Some of you are aware of that. So it was supposed to start in 2024. So in 2024, all companies were supposed to be able to receive their invoices in this digital format on the platform, and after that, according to the site, they were compelled to send those invoices in this format. So in 2004 for the biggest companies, 2025 for the medium, and 2026 for the smallest company. Now we have a little bit more time because it's all going to be in 2026, but it's going to be really soon anyway. And compelling to this legal evolution is a huge investment. And I know it firsthand because we've done it in Simax, and it took us months. And it took us months just to read the files and the legislation and the specification and everything. So it was huge, huge work to read, to implement. And that big investment, the question I'm going to ask you is, do you want to do it for just one company, or do you want to do it for many companies? It makes more sense to do it for many, right? So let's look at what happens when you compare no code and code. 1 day of no code, according to the benchmarks we've done for 17 years, is the equivalent of 20 days of programming. So that's much faster. But it's only much faster if you don't start from scratch and if you don't reinvent the wheel, right? That's why it's very important. Also, you must take into account that in a project, there's much more than just code or no code. There's also meeting, there's also specification, testing. So it doesn't cut the project by 20 also. So you have to keep that in mind. I do a conference about that tomorrow if you want, at the same time, in the big area there. So, is it sometimes interesting to start from scratch? And the answer is yes, because sometimes it's better to start anew than creating a monster by moving a project, moving a module that was not supposed to do that, and you just distort it, and then after that it's really impossible to maintain in the long run. So sometimes it's much better, but you really have to think it through, and it's good for small projects or part of the project, and if you don't have something that is close and that already exists. And I'm going to talk about business experience. And I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story that I've been told that happened not a long time ago. In this company, it's a big company, and they meet a no-code solution, and they look at all the no-code features that they can create, and it's for they are looking for an ERP solution with a big supply part. And the business manager say, okay, so what we've seen so far is just amazing. It's very, very impressive. But how long would it take you to recreate an MRP? And do you know what the answer of the no-code team was? And the answer was, what's an Oh, sorry. That's nice. But so the answer was, what's an MRP? So probably not a lot of you know what MRP is. It's called CBN in French, Calcul de Besoin Net. And it's the key feature around which ERPs were invented. So this feature is the fact of knowing what's in your stock, what the status of your sales is, what you need to produce, what is your bill of material, the recipe of the components you need to produce. And according to all this data and some statistics, showing you, calculating what and how much you should buy of those components or end products. So this calculation is so key that it's the reason ERPs were invented years and years ago. So the thing is that if you don't know the key feature that your customer wants, or if you are unable to provide very standard feature, then you won't be able to win the project. And also we have to talk about the learning curve. As I say sometimes, software is like wine. Takes a little time to get good, you know. And especially in France, we really like that. And so it's important to know that user make mistakes and the software learns and the software gets better. I'm going to give you a few examples. Like when I received the invoice for this exhibit, then it was a factor X, so it was this new format. So I said, wow, yeah, they are very modern, that's great. I'm going to be able to bring that invoice in my system with just one click, everything automated. And it didn't work. I was like, oh, because I was sure that we had implemented it. So I said, why doesn't it work? And it's because they had added on a date a return before the date and after the date, and it's all perfectly correct. It's just that we never had the case before, so we just had to improve our way of understanding the factor X to be able to make it work. And this is really important about the learning curve. It's the same thing that we had so many years with barcodes. Like you would say, oh, barcode is a barcode. But sometimes they have to follow some very specification, and some suppliers, they do not do it correctly. But you cannot say to your customer, oh, I'm sorry, your supplier didn't do it correctly, so that doesn't work. It's normal, it's not our fault. You can just say, okay, we're all going to work around that, and we are going to make sure that even if it's not perfect, it's going to work. So all this is very important to building efficient features that work in time. So sorry. So users want features that work, and no code is a mean to an end, and we really have, as no code editors, to keep that in mind. It's very important. And I believe in the future, no code will be component driven. And why do I believe that? Because history tends to repeat itself. Because it did happen with code. At first, we just had languages, and then we started to have modules and libraries and everything. And it will definitely happen with no code also. So it's important also to choose a no-code solution with components, with a thing that you can rely on, examples, to be able not to start from scratch. So if you do not start from scratch and you build on all the possibility of no-code evolution, then I would say faster plus faster equals much faster, right? Just as an example, that's the modules we have in Simax. Like we have sales, CRM, stock and logistics, training. We have cash registers, functionalities, customer supply. We have finance and accounting, dashboard meeting, project and business, after sales support, production, purchases, and supplier relationship management. All those modules are created in no code, but there's one that is a bit special. It's the accounting module. It's created in no code, but we do not open it to our customer because, well, it's accounting. Okay, so that's why. Now, a very important question when you're a no-code company and when you're looking for features, how do you make sure that you actually going to get those features? Because that's, from my experience, that's really why the main reason that companies don't go towards no code. They're a bit afraid, like, okay, but how can we make sure that no code is going to be good enough? And sometimes some editors will say, oh, okay, if it's not good enough, then we are also low code, so you can, at some point, you can always use code. But it's still they get this English, so it's very important to address it. And it's the truth is, I always say, even when using code, there's always a limit, you know? So you always have, and that limit can be your budget and your time also. So you have to think everything through, whatever solution you define. So I always say first, it's very important to define the features you want to have, create a project team within your companies with the business people, the future users, to really define what you want. And then it's very important to test the solution. Define a test with a script for key features. Do not let the person that do the demo wander and show you whatever they want, because they will show you only very nice things that work perfectly. You have to drive this demo. You have to tell them what you want to see in which order. It's very important. You can also give them a bit of data, real data from what you need. So this demo, it can also be bigger than a demo. It can be a proof of concept. Like if you want to, a proof of concept, usually you invest a little to see how it works, to get a minimal viable project. And then you can say, okay, now I'm fully reassured, and then I can really go there. You can also look at former projects. How did they go? What are the return on investment? How was the cost? I mean, like, how was it supposed to be, and how was the end cost at the end? Because all this matters also. Look at the existing components. What will you have to build from scratch? Where will you have to reinvent the wheel? Or where can you, and how much you can use to build on? And I know that it's very, very difficult to choose a solution. Like, for instance, I'm going to give you the no-code, a no-code mapping. And it's too bad because Simax is right there behind the black mark. So like, there's so many solutions. But as you can see, it really depends on what you have to build. If you have to build an app, then don't look for Simax. We don't do that. If you're looking for a web application, then don't go for Simax either. And if you look, if you want the picture, I can give it to you later on without the black thingy. And also, it's very important to see what is no code and what is really low code. Like, for instance, in the ERP CRM, Simax is a no code solution, full no code solution, and you will find also low code solutions such as Salesforce for the CRM, Axelor, I think they are here, and HubSpot also, they are low code. So a lot of solutions are possible, and you just have to find the right combination for your project according to your specification. So you have to ask yourself, do I take one tool that is going to do everything, or will I have to use several tools to do it? And also, it's important to, several tools. And also I say, there's also a solution that is go with the flow. In my experience, it's very different in the European way to do ERP projects and in the American way. In the European way, usually they will want specification, and they will want the project to be very, very precise, and they will say, we will do this, this, and this, and when everything will be ready, then we will start. And the American way is very different, but it's very interesting. They start with the existing features, and then they improve them along the way. They just bring the data in, and then they improve step by step. And I think really the best way to do some projects are maybe something in between. Like, you have to look at what are the key features that you need to start and get them and test them before getting in. And then after that, you also bring it on of course, you prioritize the most important features at first, and then you have to work on a regular regular improvement. Sorry, improvisation. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so just to give you an example, like we are working for BPI France, and they made a survey, and we had a 100% satisfaction around the users. That doesn't mean that Simax is perfect. It's just the way the project is going. Because before they had Simax, the users, they had this meeting on the morning, and they were like, "Oh, I have an idea, and everyone was writing those ideas down. But they never came into motion. Nothing happened. So after a while, people just stopped giving ideas. It stopped creativity. And then when we started Simax, then they started giving ideas again. It's like, oh, can we do that? Can we do that? And the thing is that since we do those sprints of 1 month or of a few weeks, usually 1 month, it means that the feature that they ask for, they have them 1 month later. So that brings users' satisfaction to the top, and also it gives the company a lot of performance, and also it's really good for the quality of work within the company and the creativity. So everything is great with no code. Another question that is very important is, do I do it myself, or do I ask someone to do it for me? And it's really a question about, do you have the time and do you have the budget? Because if you do not have the time and you have the budget, then it's obviously much better to have someone do it for you. And if you have no budget and you have a lot of time, then you will do it yourself. But also, you have to know that if you have neither the time nor the budget, just don't go there. Another thing that is important is, I always say, anyone can be a no-coder. And to prove that, I'm going to introduce you to Lydia. So this is Lydia. And Lydia was a nursery nurse only 3 years ago. And now she's a no-code project manager. And so that's the proof that anyone can be a no-coder, but also, I always say, anyone can't be a no-coder. What does it work for Lydia? It works for Lydia because she's a good listener. She's very organized. She's very logicked. She knows how business works, and she understands it. So she became a business expert, and that's how it helped her. And the truth is that you need, being a no-coder doesn't mean that you don't have skills. You need a lot of skills. You need logic. You need to be good in user interface, to be able to build interfaces that are very intuitive, very efficient, and you also need to be a business expert. So I'm at the end of the conference, and I'm right on time. So has anyone got a question that you want to ask? No? So that means everything was so clear. Or maybe you're too shy. Anyway, yes. Okay, good.
Thank you. So do you use yourself a no-code tool to develop your no-code tool, or do you do it with code?
Thank you. That's a very good question. The fact is that when we started in 2006, there was no Airtable, there was no Zapier, there was no Bubble, nothing. So we had to build our own tools. And it happened regularly that at some point the customer was asking for a feature that we were not able to do in no code. So with my business partner, we're like, okay, so what do we do? Do we do a little bit of code and go through this? And because it was much easier, you know, and I was like, okay, no, let's push the no-code engine a little bit further. And we did that for a lot of years. And then suddenly in 2018, the word no-code appeared, and we're like, okay, that's what we've been doing for such a long time. And we saw all those amazing tools arrive, and they're all really great. Sometimes we do have to interface with them, but most of the time we just do it with Simax because it's so it was made, you know, to be self-sufficient.
Yes. So you do have a developer team handling your no-code engine at Simax.
Exactly.
Okay.
We have developers, and there's still a little bit of code that belongs to me within Simax. Not so much because we do a lot of re-engineering, but well, I haven't coded for so long. But the thing is that my business partner Jérôme always says it's very complicated to make a simple tool. And it's a lot of work to create an efficient and very easy no-code engine. We use AI. We have an expert system within Simax. You feed it with small and easy information, and then it has the big brain, you know, to go beyond that and gives you the actual solution that you need. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Congratulations.
Thank you. Is there another question? No. But okay, if you're too shy to speak in public, don't come freely to see me. I will be happy to answer your question. And we have a booth just right down there next to Glide. Okay. So thank you very much. Have a really nice day.